What's up, everyone? Welcome to Game Conclave. This is VBerg. We got our Sunday Game of News roundup from last week, and let's just hop right into all the new info. Alrighty, we had a few release date announcements and things returning to digital distribution this week. First up, we now know that Demon Slayer The Hinokami Chronicles 2 release date. This 3D action fighter based on the Demon Slayer manga and anime is going to be dropping on August 5th. Forza Horizon, the previously Xbox exclusive racing title, is going to be hitting the PS5 in part of Microsoft's new multi-platform strategy with a confirmed release date of April 25th. It's going to be really interesting to see Forza and Gran Turismo duking it out on the PlayStation. I know they're not, exactly the same, but it's like the two biggest racing series out there are now going to be on the same console. Be interesting. Deity 2 finally has a confirmed release date. The original was a great Fire Emblem-inspired indie strategy RPG. We'll be playing as descendants of the characters from the first game, and it looks like they made a few tweaks and refinements, so we might be in for something even better when this one hits PC on March 21st. No word yet on any consoles. The Talos Principle Reawakened is a remaster of the original fantastic puzzle game. It'll be hitting the Xbox Series X, NS, PS5, and PC with extra content, including the Road to Gehenna expansion and a brand new chapter called In the Beginning. It's also going to tout upgraded visuals and a puzzle builder mode, dropping on April 10th. And lastly, for our announcements, Dragon Quest XI's has finally returned to the Switch digital storefront after being delisted back in January. Now this happened with a few Square Enix games. What they've been doing is they've been updating the publishing rights on some of their titles from Nintendo or Sony to being published by themselves as part of their upcoming multi-platform focus on games. And Dragon Quest XI's a great game, so we're glad it's back and available for people to play. Alright, we've got some new games that were announced last week. First up is Edge of Memories. This is going to be a sequel to Midgar Studios' 2021 game Edge of Eternity. And interestingly, this one's going from a turn-based strategy RPG game, which Edge of Eternity was, to an action RPG. Once again, Yasunori Mitsuda will be composing for the game. He's probably one of my favorite composers. Yeah, he always does a really good job. And the game's combat system is being designed this time around with Final Fantasy XV's combat designer. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be releasing sometime this fall for the Xbox Series X, NS, PS5, and PC. Blades of Fire was announced last week. This one's going to be an action-adventure title from Mercury Steam. They worked on the Castlevania Lords of Shadow games, and also worked on Metroid Dread. It looks like crafting is going to play a pivotal role in this game in terms of overcoming obstacles. There's 7 different weapon types, and apparently the material composition of the items you craft will be taken into consideration for what kind of damage you deal and stuff like that. So I even saw some dismemberment, I think, in those trailers, and that's awesome. It's kind of giving me strong PS3 360 era vibes, and I'm totally on board for that. So this one's going to be dropping on the Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC on May 22nd. La Quimera was announced by some of the creators of the Metro series. It's going to be their next story-driven first-person shooter. It's going to have a sci-fi setting, take place in Latin America, and you'll be playing as a mercenary who's caught up in a web of deception. And the game can be played solo or with up to 2 other players. Don't have a release date at this time, and only a PC confirmation so far. Once we hear more, though, we'll be sure to let you know. Alright, and now it is time for the rumor mill, because we love gossip, I guess. I don't know. According to Tom Warren of The Verge, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is targeting a release sometime in April for the PS5. I feel like this was weird. It kind of flew under the radar last year once it actually released. It's like there was a ton of excitement for it when it came out, before it came out, and then it came out in December, and it felt like it kind of got forgotten in the holiday excitement. I don't know. I mean, Microsoft, we covered it a few weeks back. Microsoft said it did pretty well, 4 million units reached or sold. I can't remember which terminology they used at the time. But yeah, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just feel like I don't see much about this, despite it being a big, giant AAA Indiana Jones game. Okay, and this one is just kind of a rehash from last week's Tony Hawk 3+4 remake rumor. Sal Romano at Gamatsu pointed out that the game has been officially rated in Singapore. So again, we know something's happening. The website countdown is set to expire sometime on March 4th. Most likely going to be Tony Hawk 3 and 4 Remake, official announcement. We'll let you know all about it next week's new show. Alright, and on to game sales updates. Urban Myth Dissolution Center, the visual novel supernatural detective mystery story, has been confirmed by its publisher Shueisha to have sold 100,000 copies. So congrats to the developer Hakababunko. And we've not yet seen any official sales numbers from Capcom regarding Monster Hunter Wilds, but we know they're kind of tearing up the sales charts because, well, the game catapulted into the top 5 largest concurrent player accounts of all time on Steam, with almost 1.4 million people playing at one point over the weekend within hours of the game coming out. So it's hanging out in some pretty prestigious company with games like Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3, and the Banana. So I'm sure Capcom's very pleased with the current sales trajectory. Okay, and time for the general news. We're going to do a series today of good, bad, good sandwiches. And, give you something good, then give you something crappy that happened in the world of gaming. So let's start off with the good. Due to the success of Silent Hill 2 Remake, Bloober Team and Konami have announced a continued collaboration will be taking place between them on an undisclosed Konami IP. I'm personally guessing it's going to be another Silent Hill remake, as it just makes a lot of sense for them to continue on with what they do best. They already made horror titles. They then remade Silent Hill 2, a damn good game, and yeah, so it just makes a lot of sense they'd move into some more Silent Hill remakes. What do you think? What would you want Bloober to do from, Konami's penthouse of IPs they've been sitting on? Okay, now for something crappy. Crappy to me anyway. The Fable reboot has been delayed to 2026. Xbox Studios head Craig Duncan has confirmed. This game's been in development for a minute now, and I think this is the second delay. It's being made by Playground Games, who previously only made the Forza racing games, and I don't know, I guess this one's, not a total crap sandwich, because when they delayed it, they also showed us some new gameplay footage that you're seeing here, and so it shows us what they've been working on, and I don't think it looks all that bad, so I'm more concerned about the tone and vibe from Fable being right than the combat being super impressive, to me. I don't know, maybe that's just me, though. Alright, now back to a good thing. So if you're not familiar with this issue, Balatro, the poker roguelike, for some bizarro reason, when it was released in Europe, was categorized as an 18-plus game due to it apparently teaching children how to gamble or some absurd reasoning. And Local Thunk, the developer, has confirmed that his publisher has finally made weirdos on the European ratings board realize that a game with no microtransactions, where you play poker by yourself, was actually far less egregious than the actual sports titles they allow to have a 12 and up rating that have real gambling in them due to loot boxes, which was somehow okay for kids. So, it's awesome you no longer have to go into a skeezy back room with sweat pouring down your brow due to the black trench coat you're wearing in the middle of summer to buy a freaking poker game in Paris. Speaking of Paris, Balatro is getting an Assassin's Creed crossover with Ezio, Naue, and Jacob appearing on face cards as the King, the Queen, and the Jack in Balatro. Okay, and after Balatro, we've got another double duty of the good in our story sandwich. And this one is wholesome as hell. Warhorse Studios were auctioning off collector's versions of Kingdom Come Deliverance II signed by the main cast, with all proceeds going to Kesta Domu, which I probably mispronounced. But it's a charity that provides end-of-life care for those in need. And the copies are all gone already, but they went for between $700 and $3,500 US, and we think that's awesome. Really, really great to see a studio capitalizing on their success to do something charitable like this. Every time I see something from this studio, I really think they're really great. Them and Larian, just stand up studios. Alright, and now to the mega crap story of the week. Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League flopped so damn bad, it managed to kill Monolith Productions. That's right, the creators of Condemned, Fear, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War, as well as the fantastic Nemesis system for NPC AI, was shuttered by Warner Brothers Games, and their Wonder Woman game was cancelled due to the financial failure of a game they didn't even make. Look, I know the Wonder Woman game has been in development hell for a minute. They've rebooted it a few times, but it's just so weird to have one studio do so poorly that it affects a different studio, but not them. Anyway, we can segue that into our last story. It's a semi-non-crappy story. Warner Brothers Games is involving them again, and apparently James Gunn, who's the head of the DCU, has approached Rocksteady and NetherRealm about making more DC-related games. We already have, heard rumors that Rocksteady is going to go back to their roots and work on an unannounced Batman Arkham game. And maybe now that James Gunn has approached them, this means NetherRealm, after they're done with Mortal Kombat 1's seasons and DLC roadmap plans and all that they got going on with that, are going to be working on a new Injustice Gods Among Us game. I wouldn't hate that. I love Injustice. I love the Arkham games, but gosh, it just sucked for Monolith to somehow get caught up in another studio's failure. I mean, it doesn't seem really fair to me. What do you think, though? Tell me what your thoughts are on this one. As always, if you found any of these stories funny, interesting, or even massively depressing, be sure to let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like and subscribe. And as always, from all of us here at Game Conclave, thank you so much for watching.